That was slightly more successful than last week. We actually got to the end of the Dave, yes, got to the end of the 2 minutes. That 2 minutes is always a bit of a puzzle to me. I never know what to do with myself, and so I put Twitter open or X open, and I watched a pufferfish defending itself against a turtle, which is profound. It's really interesting watching the pufferfish inflate. There you go. Apropos of absolutely nothing. This is This Week in WordPress, episode number 344. That's rather a lot, although it's not 600. That number will become important to you later during the episode. I'm joined, as always, by a panel of experts. There are, as you can see, normally this screen is ever so symmetrical. It's two here and two there, whichever way you cut it. But we've got five of us today. Me plus four others. And so let's go round the house and say hi. Over there, through Dave Gray's head, is Jess Frick. Hello, Jess. How are you doing?
I am fabulous, Nathan. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm going to read Jess's bio, and then we're going to find out a little bit more about the things that have changed. Actually, we're not going to read Jess's bio because I don't have a bio for Jess. I'm going to do it. Let me just refresh, see if it's there. No, it's got overwritten by somebody else, so it's okay. Don't worry. I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can give us your bio with your own.
Oh, I would love to. We're going to be kind of pompous here and read it in third person. Jess is currently in stealth mode until tomorrow. Join her at this year's WordCamp US Contributor Day, where she will co-lead the hosting table's activities. Jess is also an iced tea connoisseur, rescued dog and cat mama, and proud member of the Post Status and WP Minute communities. Welcome, Jess.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as you were saying it, I looked, and next to your name are those exact words. I, for some reason, was looking at the wrong part of the screen. So apologies about that. I could have done that. However, you did it much better than me. Until tomorrow. So things have changed for you. Let me just start again. Jess is currently in stealth mode until tomorrow. That tells me, so today, Monday the 11th of August, something comes to an end. And then tomorrow, the 12th, something new is beginning. I think you're under some sort of embargo or wraps. You're not saying anything about it just yet, though, right?
No, it's going to be a wonderful, brilliant surprise. I can't wait to tell everybody. I have been working for this other company for a month now.
Oh.
I absolutely love it. Of course, I also love Pressable. So like everything is good there. I wasn't running from anything. I was running to something.
Oh.
And it was an absolutely incredible opportunity that I just couldn't say no to. And I can't wait to tell you all about it.
That's so curious. Doing work for an entire month and nobody knows who you're working for. That's pretty cool.
It's so cool.
Are you working for like MI5 or the NSA or something like that? You some kind of spy or something. Yeah, look at your face.
If I was, I couldn't tell you.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. It's just the same. Okay, so thank you so much, Jess, for joining us, and apologies about the butchered intro. So if we just come back from Jess back over towards me, in between Jess and I is Dave Gray. Hello, Dave.
Good afternoon.
Can you spell your surname for me, please?
Grey.
Yeah, much to my shame, I released the pod. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but I misspelt Dave's name on the WP Builds website, and it's shocking, isn't it? You had one job, Wrigley, and couldn't quite get it right. So apologies about that. However, obviously he hasn't thrown in, put the bathwater out with the baby, because he's back. Dave was a recent guest on the WP Builds podcast, his bio said, where we talked about his plugins aimed at fellow web designers, namely Administrator Toolkit and Nag Me Not. We'll get to that in a minute. He recently launched ClickTalk, again, we'll get to that in a minute, a time tracker to help WordPress site builders make more money by correctly billing their clients. Thank you, Dave, and I appreciate you coping with my inability to spell things. Who else have we got down here? I was going to say in the second tier, but the minute that thought came out, I was thinking, "Oh, that's bad." Isn't it? No, exactly.
If it's second tier to Jess, I'll take it.
Okay, yeah. Oh, it's too nice. But down there on the screen, at least, anyway. Let's go from left to right. So Jonathan Bossinger's first up. Hello, Jonathan. How are you doing?
Hello, I am well, Nathan. How are you?
Yeah, good. It's been a healthy long time since Jonathan has been on, but here's Jonathan's bio. Jonathan Bossinger is a developer, educator, writer, and open source advocate from Cape Town, South Africa, with a career spanning roles such as development lead, senior technical writer, and developer educator. Jonathan is passionate about developer tooling, developer communities, and creating engaging educational content for developers. And I asked him what his job title was, and he said it was a developer
Advocate.
And I said, what's the difference between that and a developer relation? And the whole thing, it's like a whole thing of mystery and intrigue.
All turtles.
Yeah, it's turtles all the way. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Really.
No problem. And can I just add, that bio is what happens when you feed your about page to an AI tool.
Oh, don't tell me though. Like seriously, an intriguing question. Are you happy with that? Did it spit out a pretty good job?
I don't think I've ever been happy with any of my bios, either those that I've written myself, or those that I've had written by others, or those that I've had generated by AI. So it's okay.
It's less icky than writing about yourself, though, isn't it? Imagine, for
Yes.
example, that you had to come on a podcast show and introduce yourself. That would just be so icky.
Well, at least this way I can blame the AI tool as opposed to I wrote this.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Okay. And thank you, Jonathan. And finally is Rob Cairns. Good morning, Rob. I guess it's morning where you are.
Oh, yeah. Bright and early, Nathan.
Bright and early. It looks like he's in New York, but I think that's merely a background. Rob is the founder and chief digital strategist at Stunning Digital Marketing. He's a WordPress security expert. He's also the creator and host of the SDM Show podcast. More of that in a minute. In his spare time, he reads, watches sport, goes to music shows, and he says he likes Coldplay and spends time with his partner, Tiz. Thank you for joining us. So there is our panel for today's show. We'll get on to the bits and pieces that the guests have brought, plus some WordPressy stuff in just a moment. But first of all, a couple of bits of housekeeping. I do this each week, so if you watch it, you can probably tune out for the next 30 seconds or so. But the best place, if you want to drag your friends, colleagues, relations, guinea pigs, pufferfish, or turtles into this conversation, send them to wpbuilds.com/live, wpbuilds.com/live. Over there, you've got the video itself and Google, YouTube comments on the right. So you need to be logged into a Google account if you want to comment there. If you're on a mobile device, they'll be underneath the player. But if you don't like Google, or you just don't want to log into a Google account, if you click inside the video player, top right is a little black button that says live chat. You don't need to be logged into anything to do that. Just drop your name and the comments will appear. And if you make some comments, we'll try to put them on the screen. Honestly, it keeps this podcast going. It's great when the comments drop in. So I really appreciate that. wpbuilds.com/live. And have we got any comments in so far? Yeah, we have a few. That's really nice. Andrew Palmer, AP. Hello, all. 28 degrees centigrade in Royal Ascot. That's pretty nice. That's actually a bit hot. And he carries on. Jess has a secret and she's ain't telling anyone. I get from that Andrew, does Andrew know or something? He's just
but he has been asking me at least once a week.
Oh, has he? Okay.
Yeah, he's excited.
The wait is nearly over.
I know.
Okay. Michelle Frichette's joining us from sunny Rochester, where it's 26 degrees. High near 90 degrees Fahrenheit later today. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us. She's often on. Did some hearts just appear on Jess's screen? What the heck? How did I do that? No. Oh, it's you. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah. No, I switched all that nonsense off. Okay.
Mine's not working.
Yeah, it's not working for Jonathan either. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Daveton in the UK, good afternoon from sunny London, 29 degrees centigrade. Starting to get a bit unbearable at those numbers, isn't it, Daveton? Marcus Burnett joining us from Florida, sunny Florida. Good morning, he says. About a 5-minute walk from Jess. So great to see you all start another wonderful week. What would be hysterical, Marcus, and I'm not expecting you to do it, but it would be kind of funny if you walk around to Jess's house and knocked on her
He just
door.
pops over.
Yeah, just pops over, have a cup of tea, and you could join the show as well. That would be brilliant. Some chap called Jonathan Bossinger, never heard of him. He's saying hello, everyone. Marcus, good morning. That's the same thing. It's the same message. And that's it. It's gone. The friendship is broken. Andrew Palmer, some friend. Yeah,
Oh
she
my
told
God.
us, Andrew, before
Yeah, we all know.
before the show started. She told we all know where she's working. We don't.
Big
Actually.
secret.
She didn't actually.
They
tell us.
don't,
They
Andrew.
we
Don't
didn't.
believe
No,
Don't
that.
believe it,
she
Jess.
didn't.
Don't believe
No,
Andrew.
it's not true.
I believe him.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you. Keep the comments going, and it really does make the show go forward, as you've seen. Few bits of housekeeping, if that's all right with you. Well, even if it's not all right with you, it's coming. This is our website. It's wpbuilds.com. If you fancy keeping up with what we do, put your email address into this field and hit this subscribe button. We'll send you a couple of emails a week, one on a Tuesday. We're capturing this as basically a video, but then I strip all the video out and send it out as a podcast episode on a Tuesday. So that's the first email you'll get. And it comes out at this stupendously thoughtless time of 7 a.m. In the UK. It's good in more or less no part of the world. But anyway, there you go. 7 a.m. UK time, it will drop. So tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out for that. But also we do a podcast on a Thursday, which involves interviewing somebody. And so we'll let you know about that. Jonathan, you were going to say.
It's 9 a.m. Cape Town time, so it's
It's perfect for those people in Cape Town. I always have the Cape Town audience in mind when
There you go. You're doing it just for them.
Yeah, it's always the very forefront of my thought. So put your email address into there and we'll let you know about those two things. This is our archive and something new this week. This has never happened. The podcast episode, obviously, we drop one a week on a Thursday, and each week we obviously increment the numbers up by one. We're on 432. And the bit that's weird is that the guest on that podcast is also, well, he's there. Look, he's right on this show. So that's a bit weird. So that wasn't designed, but it's very nice. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. By the way, I'm trying this out. I don't know if I'm going to regret this or not. I think I might, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you would like to be a guest on this show, there's a URL for you. It is wpbuilds.com / the acronym for This Week in WordPress. So it's TWIW. So wpbuilds.com / TWIW. If you want to be a guest on this show, then fill out this form and I will think about it, because it just occurred to me, you know, I have a lot of people that I know, so I contact them, a lot of people that I meet at events, so I communicate with them. And then last week there was a couple of weeks ago, there was a piece on the show from Web Squadron on YouTube, and they kind of made the point that maybe things like this show are a bit of an exclusive bubble. And so I thought, well, what can I do about that? And that form is my endeavor to maybe open it up a little bit. So if you want to come on this show, there are a couple of caveats. Firstly, you have to be willing to introduce yourself. I mean, we've seen that, you know,
Quite
Jess.
literally.
Yeah. You also have to be able to talk in English and not be mute. So if you come on the show and you're not prepared to open your mouth, that's probably a bit of a red flag. Yeah, thanks, Dave. I like it. He did like one of those. What are they called? Those people who do
Mime
that?
artist.
Yeah, one of those.
Mime.
Yeah, the mime artist. That's it. And also, you have to be into WordPress, like to an unhealthy extent. If you're just merely a bit into WordPress, then it's no good. You got to be really, really into WordPress. Show us, come on, do us the t-shirt. Look, he's got a I'm far too into WordPress t-shirt on. That was Dave Gray.
Only clean clothing at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't got any. Yeah, look, two of our guests are wearing WordPress swag. You see how it works. So fill out the form if you are. Yeah, exactly. Jonathan's just got loads of tickets and things from behind his head from WordPress events as well. So that's the criteria. So if you satisfy that, go and fill out that form and we'll see if we can get you on the show. There's no exclusion in terms of geography and anything, but we film it live at this time, which is 2 p.m. UK time. So, you know, if you're going to be in bed at that time, maybe don't put that on. Anyway, we'll see if I regret that. And then we'll come back to this. This is the most recent episode with Dave. As I mentioned, Dave and I got on the podcast and chatted about all of the different bits and pieces that he has been doing. And so, Dave, let's segue into that straight away, actually. Let's make that the first thing. This never really got a mention, but you've got a brand new little project going on. It's called ClickTalk. It's obviously reached version 1. What's going on with ClickTalk? What have you built here?
Yeah, it didn't exist when we had that chat.
Yeah, that was like 8 days ago or something.
That's so cool.
Well, it was basically a very, very early version of that bit, but I kind of just finished it off when we got back from sort of a summer holiday on.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, basically it's kind of the usual trying to scratch my own itch on that side. I had a new e-commerce site project to start on, and I thought, I've got no idea how long this is actually going to take on that side. So I kind of quickly threw this thing together to kind of keep track of things and thought, everyone likes to own their own data. So rather than having it as a SaaS on that side, because you've got maintain and costs and whatnot, stick it inside the dashboard. So when you log in, you can either start an entry on there or from your admin in the top corner, start it on that side, select what you're doing, and then, just keep track of things on that side so that when you've got billion clients, it's all inside their individual sites. So it's kind of, they own their own data, and you can kind of, hopefully correctly track your own time so you know what to charge people.
Nice.
As simple as that,
Such a quick turnaround as well. So honestly, Dave, what was it? It was about 8 days ago that we spoke, something like that, for that podcast, something along those lines.
A week or two back on that side.
Yeah, so you've thrown it together very, very quickly. So this lives inside the dashboard, does it? So if you're in maintaining a client website, I don't know, you're updating something on a homepage, you just click go, it starts timing. When you finish, you click stop, and then it collates all of that for you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
As simple as it says on the tin, So,
I'm going to mention, you can probably Google it at this point, but Dave's website is ourwpplugins.com. So the word our as in O-U-R, ourwpplugins.com, and then hyphenated ClickTalk time tracker. But you'll probably be able to Google that at some point, I would have thought. So bravo.
It feels like a real missed marketing opportunity, though, to not do like our, like H-O-U-R.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I just need to buy the misspelling on that bit. But
yes, you absolutely do. Yeah, that's a good one. Well spotted, Jess. I honestly, I completely avoided that joke as well. I didn't even see it. Brilliant. I love stuff like that. So that's his thing that he's brought to us today. We'll switch over swiftly to some of the things that Jonathan has bought. Now, the first thing I need to mention is that Jonathan is much cleverer than I am. And because of that, much of this I won't even understand. But I'm going to put it on the screen and hopefully he can explain it in poor man's terms. So the first one is this. Now, the URL is impossibly long, I think, but it's playground.wordpress.net. Oh, no, it's not. I guess the instance is the bit at the end. And then it's so playground.wordpress.net /php-playground.html. I don't know if that'll get you to this, but we'll see. What is it? What are we looking at?
So I just want to mention that my intelligence has nothing to do with anything else other than there are just certain areas that I'm interested in, and this happens to be one of them. But
I don't buy that. I just think you're really bright and very humble.
If you've been following WordPress Playground, if you haven't heard about it, it's something that was launched. I think it was last year at WordCamp Europe. It was something that a contributor by the name of Adam Zelinsky, I think his name is.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly right. Yeah.
I'm not going to get the pronunciation right, but he launched it. It's basically a way to run WordPress in a browser using something called WebAssembly. And the Playground team recently launched this PHP Playground, which essentially uses WordPress Playground under the hood, but it allows you to run any PHP code inside of your browser without having to set anything up and get going. Now, if you're interested in PHP as a WordPress developer, which you probably are, you might know that the PHP homepage, or the PHP language homepage, they recently implemented a similar solution in their documentation. So when you're looking at PHP code, you can run the code in your browser, see the output, see the results. And it's a really cool way to learn the language without having to set up local development environments and local installs and all this kind of thing. So this is a way that you can essentially run either standard PHP, or if you want to include the WordPress WP load file and then run any kind of WordPress related PHP.
Nice.
So you could use it to test a function that you're working on. You could use it to play around with a WP query object. It's really kind of another example of what Playground is doing a lot of, which is experimenting with things, kind of throwing them out there and seeing what's possible. But yeah, it's something to check out. You can change your PHP version. You can change your WordPress version. So you could use it to test functions against older versions of PHP or newer versions of PHP or WordPress or whatever. So if you're a developer and you're looking for like an environment where you can just run some code and see what happens, go and check this out and yeah, let the team know what you think.
Can I just say, or rather ask, does this have any kind of persistence to it? In other words, if I close the browser, does it kind of disappear?
I don't know.
You're not sure. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to assume that it does, given the nature of where we're at with Playground. I know that it's entirely possible to make Playground persistent. You did pronounce Adam Zelensky's name perfectly, by the way. You got it exactly right. And Playground, if you haven't used it, is Voodoo. There's no other word for it. It just
really
shouldn't
is.
be possible. And yet there it is. WordPress entirely in a browser. Absolutely phenomenal. So there we go. That's WordPress PHP Playground. Go there, test out your functions and PHP code.
It's so new. There isn't even a post anywhere about it. It was just mentioned in a meeting last week.
Yep. So you got the code on one side and obviously the output once you've run it on the other side. So go and have a play. The next thing you brought was this one. And honestly, this is really beyond my ken to understand. So this is over on GitHub. It's the WordPress repository and it's under the Abilities API. The title of it is Implement Server-Side Registry for Abilities API. I guess this is, to do with the recent announcement. I can't remember who pushed this out recently. It might have been the AI team. I'm not entirely sure. Tell me more.
Correct. That's exactly correct. So if you've been following the news, the WordPress news lately, the WordPress project launched the core AI team about a month and a half ago or so. And then about 2 to 3 weeks ago, that team published their 4 AI building blocks for WordPress post. And it covers the 3 main projects they're going to be focusing on. And the 4th one on that list is an experimental plugin that'll bring all of those 3 projects together. This is one of those 3 projects. It's something called the Abilities API. The original name for it was called the Features API, but it was changed recently to Abilities API. And essentially what the Abilities API does, it actually has nothing really to do with AI yet, but it's a way to register common functionality within WordPress. So one of the sort of problems with WordPress as a 20-odd-year-old project is there isn't a standardized way to register some kind of ability and then make it available to something like the command palette or a REST API endpoint or an AI tool. The Abilities API is essentially, the goal of the Abilities API is to make the sort of standard server-side registry. One of the reasons it came about is because we needed a standardized way to be able to talk to LLMs, to be able to integrate things like LLM chatbots or coding tools or whatever the case may be. So this is the first step towards making the Abilities API functional. It's being developed as a canonical plugin. So once this pull request is merged, you'll be able to install it on your WordPress site. You'll be able to register abilities and then fetch those abilities to be able to use them elsewhere. And then it goes sort of hand in hand with something like MCP or Model Context Protocol, which allows you to connect your WordPress site to your AI tools or your desktop AI tools or whatever the case may be. So if you weren't really following this along, you won't know what this is all about. But if you're interested in the intersection of WordPress and AI, this is an exciting step forward into making these features or abilities within WordPress standardized in a standardized registry that AI tools can interact with. And this actually ties into the next item. So if you want to pop over to...
Oh, he's good. He's got it all going on. Look at this.
I'm actually presenting a workshop at WordCamp US about how to integrate your local WordPress environment or any WordPress install really with these abilities and connect them to something called MCP, Model Context Protocol, to be able to essentially, quote unquote, talk directly to your WordPress site from your AI desktop tool or your coding tool or whatever the case may be. So if it's something you're interested in and you're coming to WordCamp US, come to the workshop. I'll show you how it all works and how it all fits together. And hopefully you'll walk away from that workshop with a better understanding of what's possible and what you can do with it.
In a breathtaking example of histrionics, last week we featured the blog post. I think there were 3 or 4 bound together. So it was about the AI team, it was about the Abilities API, and various other things. They all dropped at the same time. These posts that were all interconnected. So the histrionics bit was, I thought that in the 8+ years that I've been doing this show each week, I think this Abilities API is possibly the most important thing that's happened. I don't know if I'm kind of overdoing that a little bit, but it felt like what you've done essentially is tell anything else that's not WordPress. WordPress can do this thing and this thing and this thing as well. And I don't know, it can publish posts, it can delete things, it can add users, it can create custom post types. And in order to make that work, everybody's had to build their own solution for that. Whereas now there'll be this common framework. And so the biggest, quickest drop in for that, I suppose, is AI. And you'll be able to speak in natural language and say, create me a post type with featured image about, I don't know, it's about dogs. I'd like it to be scheduled on the 14th of the month. Whatever, you get the point. In other words, you've given it a bunch of tasks, and in order to do that, it has to know what the parts are that WordPress would need to do to achieve that. And this provides that framework. I could be wrong about that, but hopefully Mark Wilkinson, he said, what is an ability? Hopefully that gives you an example.
That's a really good explanation. So if we think about all the things that WordPress can do, let's talk about creating posts, creating pages, creating menus. If we talk about sending emails, those are all features or abilities that WordPress has. But at the moment, as you were saying, there's no standardized way for WordPress to say, these are all the things that I can do, and then be able to plug into those things. So for example, if we talk about the REST API, instead of building just the REST API endpoints that then hook into these core abilities, we had to build a whole platform essentially to say, well, when somebody hits this REST API endpoint to create a post, it's got to go and do all this code. The idea behind the Abilities API is once you have all of your abilities available and registered within WordPress core number 1, now you can hook anything into that. AI just happens to be one part of that.
It's just,
but for example, if we use the create a post example, if you have an ability that is create post, and create post has certain things that you want to have titled, and you can send that to the internal API function that creates a post, now you can have in the command palettes that we're moving towards, you can have a create post command palette. Command. And all that needs to do is find an ability called create post, send it the data that it needs to send, and not worry about what's happening in the background. So you can have command palette to do that. But you can also have an AI tool, what's called a model MCP tool, that does exactly the same thing, that sends exactly the same data, finds the ability, and the ability handles what the data, where the data needs to go, and what it needs to do, and how it needs to work. So it's really the standardized way of all the things that we're used to doing within WordPress, be it from a user point of view, be it from a developer point of view, are standardized or formalized. They all have the same inputs, they all have the same outputs, and how it works underneath the hood, we don't care about. We just interface with those abilities.
It's pretty cool. So obviously that sort of abstracted layer, that means that, not only AI, but you're a SaaS tool of choice, whatever that may be.
Zapier.
Right.
Anything that needs to interact with your WordPress site just needs to hit those registered abilities and say, I want to do X, and this is the data, and it handles the rest. And then it goes even a step further. If you're building a plugin, you can register abilities for your plugin. In Dave's ClickTalk, for example, there are probably certain things that happen. You can register those abilities, and then people can hook into them. It just opens up. You can tell I'm excited. I'm talking really fast and jumping up and down.
It's great.
It just opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Yeah. So hopefully now, Mark Wilkinson, you've got an idea of what that is. He says it sounds exciting, but it also sounds a little bit, from his point of view, like it might just be the REST API. That's for another day, I think. But there we go.
We can do another podcast about that.
There's a whole other podcast there. But very exciting. I realise that Jonathan and I have been talking, so I'm just going to open it up to Dave, Jess, and Rob if they've got anything they want to say about the bits that we threw on the screen from Jonathan there. Anybody just dip in or not? We'll just move on.
From a plugin side, it sounds quite cool, because I'm already thinking I could get like ClickTalk and Admin Toolkit and things to talk to each other and send stuff through, and something happens on there, you register your time on that bit. So
Nice.
Quite looking forward to that bit.
Yep. Jess, Rob, anything to that?
I just want to say my boy is wicked smart.
Yeah, exactly. You see,
Yeah, he is
actually quite clever.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
Yeah. So there's a whole load of other comments that have come in. I apologise. Well, actually, so we have a quick look through them. By the way, I expect Marcus is only a minute away. Just be mindful of that. I doubt he's actually coming, but you never know. Good morning, say various people. So Ryan, Influence WP, is saying good morning. Ahmed is saying hello from Dhaka in Bangladesh. Very nice to have you with us. Saying hi to Jess as well. That's really nice. James Lau is joining us, saying good morning. Davedon has put a few comments in there. Nice bit of community news drop in there. Ahmed is saying that he's organising WordCamp Dakar after waiting for 6 long years. Is that to say the Dakar WordCamp hasn't been on for 6 long years, or your involvement hasn't been for 6 years? Either way, very nice. That's kind of cool. Don't forget, so this is if you want to fill out that form and come on the show. Yes, you also have to do the slightly humiliating hand wave of death at the end. And give Nathan all your money. I wish. That would be nice.
Are we not doing that anymore?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I was told it was half.
I'll reluctantly bring it back at the, just for this show.
Jess, you'll drop your percentage to 20%.
Yeah. Bossinger is a genius. Don't let him deny it. There you go. Elliot Sowersby, just down the road from us, is joining us. Hello from Patricia and Anne.
Hey, Mika.
Anne.
As well, who, by the way, I don't know about this for any other WordPress user. Anne apparently has an acronym. It's AMB. I love it. So I'm joined this week by DG, by JF, by RC, and JB. I'm liking it.
Hers is like catchier though, because it's like, you down with AMB?
Yeah, that is way more. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's way more catchy. So back to the project at hand. So we're now talking about the Abilities API, truly making WordPress a platform as well as the best CMS out there. That's from
Yep.
Oh, he's done it to himself. Look, he's acronymed himself. He's AP. That's brilliant. It's on the screen. Jonathan is a genius. See, that's 2. 3 strikes and you're out, Jonathan. You got no. Can somebody else write Jonathan's a genius? Then we've got 3 people.
Can somebody fit a bigger door into my office, please? I'm going to struggle to walk out of the after this.
I just watched a video about a pufferfish. It's just like that. Jonathan is a genius. Invite him to a talk, and you just signed yourself up for an amazing
thanks, James.
And you got it's all comments, nice comments all the way down. Taco's joining us from Progress Planner. Hello, Taco.
Hey, Taco.
He says, I was on my way to Jess's but got stuck in the first day of school traffic and turned back next time. That would be great. JB is a genius. Not even a question.
There it is.
We've had 3. It's official.
Out of here.
Get that man a badge. I love it. This show's just such fun. I love doing this show. Okay, so that was all the different bits and pieces that Jonathan brought to bear. We're going to stay on the last screen. Well, sort of. So there's Jonathan's talk. If you head into WordCamp US, there's obviously Jonathan's bits and pieces. But during the course of the last week or so, the entire schedule has just dropped. So, it's the usual thing. You can go around and see what it is that you'd like to talk. There's a few little gaps here and there, TBA and so on, but most of it, 95% of it is there. And a neat little feature on the WordCamp US one, which I actually think is pretty cool. You can sort of star things as you go around and, ones that you kind of like the look at. I probably should find Jonathan's and click it just to, swell his head some more. But yeah, there it is.
Are we going to see you there, Nathan?
I'm going to be there. Yeah.
Yes.
But usually, Jess, what happens is I end up in some sort of little cavern in a corner somewhere. Well, no, with my interview. So at the minute, I'm already lining up some interviews, and dare I say it, I haven't yet asked Jonathan, but I will ask Jonathan. I do interviews at the event for the tavern, which we'll get to in a minute, actually. And so normally I'm kind of tucked away, but I will be there. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. That'll be really nice.
If you remember, that's actually where we met at WordCamp Europe in, I think it was Berlin. When you
I have tried very hard to expunge that from my memory, but it was you're right. I do remember. That was lovely. I remembered you though, because I had dealt with you for Castos support at some point when you were doing the podcast thing over there. So I seem to recall that we'd been chatting around. Anyway, there's the schedule. Go and check it out. It's Nathan, kind of
sorry to interrupt, but it looks like we've got an exclusive here. Andrew Palmer is dropping some previously unknown information that the TBA is going to be veto. Okay, right. So hold the phone. Wait a second. Which TBA? You heard it here first, folks.
Okay, you heard it. That's right. It's the one exclusive. We do one a decade, and then there it was. So one of the TBAs is going to be Vito Peleg. from Atarim. Perhaps this one, then maybe there's more TBA. Oh, thank you, Andrew, for telling us that. Yeah, there's a couple here, but it sounds like Vito has obviously confirmed his spot to talk. Yeah, that's nice. Bit of an exclusive thing. So it's a bit different, this one, though, because you'll notice there's a contrib day, there's a showcase day, there's a Thursday and a Friday. So Thursday and Friday, as you might expect. Contrib day, well, I'll come back to that in a minute. Showcase day is kind of interesting because I think Showcase day last year was a bit of a success. Showcase day is a bit more like show and tell, like here's how to achieve a thing. And my understanding was that that was very, very popular. The other thing to mention about the contributor day is that they're doing a few things slightly differently. Do you know what? Annoyingly, whatever that was has gone out of my head. However, I have the antidote to that, because if you go to the, I am segue master this week. If you go to, and I've also got a big head. If you
build
go
them
to,
a bigger door.
yes, I might need a bigger door too. Me and Jonathan are going to have special doors at WordCamp US. If you go to the WP Tavern website and you click on episode number 180, I talked to a really, really genuinely lovely person, Carla Campos, who is one of the lead organizers for the event, and explains what that role involves. Honestly, just how much work is involved. That was the lasting message I got. If you attend any event like this, please go and applaud these people, because she's giving up somewhere in the region of about 30 hours a week at the minute. There's absolutely no quid pro quo. You know, you don't get any remuneration for that. It's just purely altruistic. But also she talks about the way that the event is going to be different. So the fact that the day that I just mentioned over here, the showcase day and the contrib day, how they were going to be slightly different. And I can't remember, there's a few gimmicks, including one of the things I can remember is it's going to be live. So you can participate in contrib day live. So you don't have to attend for that. There's going to be like Zoom phone-ins, if you like, for various different tables. But anyway, go and check that out. So that's
I do remember when they were looking for table leads, they mentioned they were doing it in more of a hackathon style.
You know, you've hit
So
the nail on the head.
I'm not sure what that means, but that's what I remember reading.
Well, I can tell you, as the table lead for the hosting table, we aren't planning on doing like a Zoom call or anything like that, but we'll probably open like a Google Hangout and anybody can come and hang out with us.
Okay.
But we're going to be working asynchronously over Slack with people who can't attend. And we're also hoping that a bunch of people come sit with us. I'm co-leading with Zunai of Rocket.net. And we're going to work through the hosting handbook and a variety of other testing needs. So quick plug, if you haven't picked a table, come sit with us.
Yeah, nice.
But one thing I did want to call out, and I love that Carla specifically called it out, was our dear friend Michelle's initiative of Trail Buddies.
She did. Do you want to explain what that is? I could do it, but I'm happy for you to.
Go for it.
Okay, so WP Trail Buddies is a kind of like, I don't think it's bound to the event. What I mean by that is it's not, I don't think it's an official part of it, but it kind of is an official part of it. If you're attending your, let's say, first WordPress event and you are feeling like maybe that's a little bit overwhelming and you would like somebody to shepherd you around and feel a little bit more like you've got a companion there from the get-go, WP Trail Buddies will endeavor to make that happen. Michelle mentioned it on the show last week, but it's just an introduction with some commitments. Like you've got to be willing, if you're the person nominating yourself as the more experienced attendee, you've got to be willing, obviously, to talk to that person and to spend an hour with them. And I think they mentioned having a meal or something together, just to sort of cement that experience and really make it meaningful. So yeah, there's that opportunity. And if you go to this episode in the tavern and click on this link, then you will be able to see, here we go, there's a post about it on the WordCamp US website, Navigating WordCamp with Confidence, Meet Your WP Trail Buddy, and there's more information there. But yeah, Jonathan got it right. The hackathon was a part of it. So the contributor day is going to be a bit more hackathon-y, and I could summarize a hackathon maybe more as having a thing with a goal in mind, as opposed to just, contributing for some, wider project thing. I think a hackathon could be defined simply as that. You start the day with a clear aim and hopefully get to it by the end of the day. And yeah, okay. Anybody want to contribute on the WordCamp USE stuff?
I think one of my favorite things about Contributor Day is a lot of times table leads will have contests over who brings the best cookies for their table.
Nice.
And I just want to put it out there, especially for the documentation team, who usually brings something good, that I've got all of you this year.
Oh, okay.
Is that a challenge? Is that a challenge?
It sounds like
Wow.
It's not a challenge, it's a promise.
Milana, I hope you're listening.
Can I just ask? Okay, I don't want to know what the end product is. Give me some of the ingredients. Let's see if it lands.
I'm bringing two variations.
Okay.
One is going to involve chocolate, and one is going to involve oatmeal.
Okay, you had me at chocolate. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Not saying anything else. I'm just saying, documentation team, you're on notice.
I would like to volunteer as tribute for the judging portion of this.
Well, you take the hard jobs.
No kidding.
I don't understand this comment. I love it, but Marcus, it says it's the lovely Anne Mika Bovelet, the lamb. What's the lamb?
LAMB.
But what's the I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm such a donkey. Yeah, of course, that's the acronym.
No, not donkey, lamb.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, so many comments. I'm sorry, I can't keep up with them. Huge respect to the event organizers around the WordPress ecosystem. That's great. And Andrew Palmer is being called out by Taco being the most annoying of people. Maybe there's some history to that. I don't know. What else have we got? We got Mark Westgard joining us from WS.
Hey, Mark.
No, he's going to be there. Hopefully we'll get up to some silliness as well before that event. What else have we got? If any of you guys see something in the comments that you want me to raise, then please do mention it, because I'm sort of getting lost. There's absolutely loads of things going on here. Right, let us move on. So exciting times if you're in the WordPress space, especially if you like listening to podcasts. Here he is. It's
hey, thanks, Anton.
It's episode okay, you can see over on the right hand side here, we're on episode number 579, and I think I'm right in saying that maybe you've already recorded it, I don't know, or you're very soon to be recording episode number 600. So firstly, congratulations to you. Is that kind of milestone something that you mark? Do you do something different on that one?
On the hundreds, I tend to. When I started it, I never had intention on doing 600 episodes. It's just mind-boggling. I sat down at the beginning of COVID, and I did an interview, and I did a second interview, and I did a third interview, all because I was bored, and really bored at the time. And it's just kind of morphed. 600 is going to have a couple special things in it, including some words from somebody that everybody who listens to the show know of, who has never said a word on the show. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And that will end the show. So I will not say any more. Like Jess, I like surprises. So
when you said that will end the show, are you saying that 600 is the final one?
No, that will end the 600th
episode.
And the only hint I will put out there, it is somebody who means the world to me. So that's all I'll say.
Okay.
All I will say.
So tomorrow we're going to find out what Jess's new job is, and very soon we're going to find out about episode number 600, who that is. Honestly, if you do a podcast and you do it and you keep doing it, it's a ton of work. Let me just say that. It's not as easy. I mean, I'm not implying that it's the hardest work ever in the world, but it is a lot of work, and to get to 600 requires enormous dedication to the cause, and bravo for keeping going. Yeah, you're most welcome.
It is a lot of work, and you know that. You do several. Our mutual friend Bob Dunn knows that. Anybody who's done this knows it's a lot of work. So it's gratifying though. That's the beauty of it all.
There's a lot of nice things to be taken out of it. One of the nicest things about doing this show is the sort of nice connections that I tend to make. Mm-hmm. And I always love the fact that, so as an example, there's probably people on this show today who hadn't met, but they've got a complete shoe-in. Next time they bump into each other at a WordPress event or something like that, they've got a real way of getting in. And I don't know how many of those kind of connections have been made as a result of, podcasting and things like that. But it's lovely. And I'm sure that you, with your 600 episodes, have facilitated exactly the same thing. So, yeah, bravo. Yeah. Have you had a favorite episode? Is that fair? Is it fair for me to ask you that?
He does, and it's the one with me.
With Jess Frick, that's right. Yeah.
and Jess has been on. Yeah, all about the ladies today, right?
I'm not gonna press you on that. That was a very unfair question.
And Jess, if there's any consolation, you happen to be wearing my favorite color today, and my favorite person's favorite color. So
nice.
There you go.
The SDM Schmooze podcast. We've done that one. We did Click Talk, so we'll quickly press on. Okay.
Thanks,
so
Nathan.
I am going to get this person's name wrong because I always do. I'm going to really hang on. I have got it. Wait a sec. Matthias.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got it.
Oh, it's the first time ever. I always say Matthias, so I nearly did it again. Matthias Ventura has put out a post this week, and I think this is really interesting. It's over at the Gutenberg. So it's github.com/WordPress/Gutenberg, and the issue number is 71026. Check me out reading GitHub issues into the podcast. Woohoo! I feel way cleverer than I actually am. This is Matthias's attempt. I did it again. Matthias's attempt to try and sort of pull together many years of kind of failed attempts, I suppose, of things that could be blocks that never quite got there. And I'm just curious as to whether any of you would really use any of this stuff. The intention, of course, is to make the block editor by default as useful as possible. I know that we've all probably at some point got ourselves into the third-party ecosystem, but wouldn't it be nice if some of these, especially some of the more straightforward and basic ones, were in? So here we go. Here's the ones that he's not proposing. He's just gathering things together. He's not giving an opinion, but he's saying, here's some stuff which got mentioned, would be nice. And what do you all think? So icons block. Well, that gets 180 million votes from me. That should have been in core on day one. That I've just decided it. Okay, nobody else gets a vote. That's just, can we just say that's happening? The next one is the playlist block. Maybe, don't know. Slider and carousels.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah. Well, if it's done with CSS, if it's done with modern CSS, we might be all right with that one. But I'm not sure I want a heavy JavaScript library involved. I don't even know what this is. Stretchy text. But can anybody tell me what I mean, what is that? What is stretchy text? Okay. Tabs block, yes, please. Accordion block, yes, please. Again, I suppose if it's done right. Not sure about this one. I think people are going to disagree.
God, yes.
Really? Mega menu? Really? Okay. Mega menus. All right. In core.
Can I tell you why, though?
Okay.
And I love the point that Rich made in this thread. Rich said further down on the thread, because there are some people saying, introducing too many blocks could be confusing. But he said, the real issue is that more blocks. The real issue isn't that more blocks will confuse users. It's that users get confused when they search for expected functionality and can't find it. And then they get lost trying to figure out which third-party plugin to trust.
Got it.
And I am 100% in agreement with that. Because a lot of these blocks that, Matthias has collected here, they are things that people have to use third-party plugins for. And now you're counting on a whole bunch of other people's code.
Yes. Yes, I think you're right. That actually makes sense. Okay. So it gets a pass. I will consent to the mega menu. I don't know if you've noticed, but one of the block solutions that I really like is called Generate Blocks. I don't know if you've come across this. It's like I think it's a really credible offering to improve the UI for the layout mechanism for the block editor. They recently dropped a mega menu block. Or at least their menu block, I think, can be extended to do mega menus. So, yeah, it seems to be popular. All right, mega menus. Feel free to interrupt me. Don't even know what this is. Math ML block. No, nobody else seems to know. Marquee block. I don't know that I want that. Am I right? It's like a marquee block. Is that like a ticker tape thing that just sort of scrolls from left to right or right to left? Is that what that is? I think that's what
I think GeoCities is making a comeback.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's click on that one and see where we get to. Okay, let's have a look, see what the marquee block actually will deliver us. Yes.
Oh, yep. There it is.
Oh, yeah. Now there's that. We all need that in core. Do we? I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, that was suggested. Time to read block. Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Breadcrumb block. Yes, please. I'd like to be able to drop those. Oh, see what I did there. Oh, nice.
Drop those breadcrumbs.
Oh,
Mic
thank
drop,
you, Dave.
mic
Ring that
drop.
bell. I'm on fire. I'd like
Oh,
to be able to
God.
drop those in different parts of my website. That's possibly the funniest thing I've said in my life, and it's such a dad joke. And then finally, the dialogue. Easy for me to say. The dialogue block. What the heck does that do? Let's have a look. Dialogue block.
It
What
lets
does
you
it do?
talk.
It's a pop-up. Pop-ups are very common. Don't know. I know the browsers are going to start shipping the pop-ups and popovers API, so maybe we won't need that so much. Anyway, there's a selection of stuff that may or may not be of interest to you. Anybody want to comment on that?
So I think it's an interesting conversation to have. I know, for example, Elliot just commented in the chat about the whole mega menu situation. He feels differently about that. I think that one of the things that was raised, I think Hendrik raised it, was the idea about the 80-20 rule. And I do agree, just, in this conversation, a number of those blocks we all agree are probably a good idea. So I do think it should be something that is maybe a data-driven decision. So like Jess was saying, like how many people go looking for this block and then have to install a third-party plugin? If 80% of our users are doing that, then there's no reason why we should have it in, or shouldn't have it in. Things like the marquee block, going back to 80s internet, I don't know. So that could maybe stay in the canonical area. But yeah, I definitely think it's great to see the conversation happening. The thing that sits in my mind, I remember asking Matt a question at a WordCamp, or someone asked him a question at a WordCamp around about the time the block editor was launched. And he made this very controversial statement about if it breaks backwards compatibility, maybe that's a good thing. Sometimes we do need to, break a few eggs to make an omelet. And this is a good conversation to have. So I think it's great to see it happening. I think it's exciting. And I think more people should get involved in the conversation. But I also would like to see something that I wanted to see for a while now, and it's started happening, is we get to a point where it's like, okay, fine, Matthias is going to make the decision based on the data, based on the user input. These are the blocks we're going to go with because it makes the most sense for the project. So being a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Opinionated is not a bad thing.
Rob, sounds like you got things there.
Lots. Does this, my question is, impact the third-party block ecosystem and stagnant progression and development? So if we keep throwing everything in the core, do these third-party companies, and I think of Cadence or Generate Blocks or any of those big ones, do they say, why bother developing anything else? Because we know it's just going to swell up and end up in core, and is this worth our time? So that becomes my question is, do we hurt the long-time development? And a bit of a disclaimer, I am a bit of a Cadence user, so I understand what's in those. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just wondering, do we shoot ourselves in the foot in the long run?
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I'm sure sure those developers would probably, especially if it's a paid for third-party ecosystem, I'm sure that there would be some part of them that would like to have less in core, so that they've obviously got a market to tap into. But the whole 80-20 thing. And I suppose they get to finesse their thing as well, don't they? And wrap it with all of their different settings and different options, whereas the core stuff is usually fairly, how to describe it, more basic, shall we say. Yeah, more. Yeah, thank you, Dave. Dave, Jess, anything on that before we move on?
More blocks couldn't hurt if they're done right, but as you sort of say, sometimes it's just get the basic things in there that then themes and other places can then expand and have the more advanced functionality on. Because frankly, if you're pro, you'll probably be going that way anyway. But if you're just learning out, then you just want to stick something in the page and get something simple together.
One of the things that has come up, there's a few bits and pieces about this that are happening over here in the comments. Firstly, Lamb says, I've just adopted these acronyms now. It's like second nature to me. Lamb, she loves the SDM show. What was SDM mean? Oh, I get it. She loves it. And also Taco, trying to catch me out. Look, he's been a bit spammy today, Nathan, just to test your multitasking skills. I got you. I can multitask at least one thing at a time. I am so rubbish at multitasking. I'm the kind of guy that if you ask me to tell you the time, I will spill the pint of beer on myself so that I can look at my clock. That is what I'm like. Playlist block. Yeah, I'm guessing it's something to do with audio or, like repeated cycles of content, but I'm not entirely sure. Anne, so accessibility hat firmly on, as long as the sliders and carousels are accessible ready. So we're talking about mega menus here and accordion tabs and what have you. Very important. And you would hope that in the core product, it would that would be a real thing. Elliot chips in about that as well. It depends how you define mega menu. If it's schematically sound and just for navigation, then yes. For menus that look like landing pages, no. A bit of self-promotion. I do apologize, but it's not really promotion for me. It's more for Joe Dolson. I did an episode with Joe Dolson, who is into his accessibility, and it's a video, so you can have a look on the screen at what's going on. Joe kind of he goes to the WordPress Playground website and he handpicked a few, and then he looked at them, the menus from an accessibility point of view, and it's really interesting. It's not a here's the fix, it's more of a here's the problem. We do other episodes where here's the fix gets applied, but this one was just let's see what we can find that does and does not work. So yeah, you can find that if you go to archives and then click accessibility show. I think we're 7 episodes in, and you can see what Joe thinks about that. Mike McAllister has a mega menu block built for the Ollie theme. Yeah, that's brand new, and it is all the hotness, isn't it? Jamie Marsland, head of the YouTube at WordPress, did a highlight video a week or so ago about it. Time to Read and Breadcrumbs are already in Yoast SEO, which everyone is using, right? He's not even working there anymore. He's still on the promo for them. Andrew says that the Ollie one is not quite accessible yet. These comments just are coming in. I think sitemaps are a great example of having basic things in core where plugins do valuable extensions. Love Joe Dolson, and happy to be part of the organizing team for WP Accessibility Day, along with Taco, Michelle, and Joe. Indeed, a thoroughly nice human being. Right, okay. God, where did we get to? I feel like we're about halfway through the content and we got like a half an hour to go. So there was Matthias. Woohoo! I get it right all the time now. And then this. Oh no, I've just clicked on something else. Right, here we go. I've got to opt out of this one, right? And you'll see why in a second. So I'm just going to raise this one and then I'm going to step away. It looks like this. This is on Twitter. There's probably a load of comments. Let me just refresh because I'm now logged in over here. It's Brad Williams who asked the question, is the WP Tavern for sale? And he atted photo Matt. Matt came back very quickly and said, no, but it's open to new writers and editors. Just to make my ego, just to make my head bigger than it already is. I know. I'm not even going to read it, but look, there's a nice comment. That's lovely. I do the podcast over there. And I'm going to say 2 years ago, something like that. Firstly, Justin Tadlock stepped away. And then... oh my goodness, now my brain has gone dead. Please, Sarah Gooding, of course. Sarah Gooding stepped away. And then there was a period where there was no written content. There was only audio content from me. And then Jolsner stepped in and for about 4 months, stepped up to the plate and did loads of really good content. And again, I'm going to say about 6 months ago, that stopped because Jolsner stepped away. Ever since then, it's just been... basically podcast after podcast episode with content. In fact, if you go to WP Tavern, let me see if I can spell that.
That's not going to do it.
Yeah, there you go, wptavern.com. And you look, this archive usually would have been filled with written content about, plugins and themes and all that. But you can just see, because the thumbnails look like this, when it looks like this, it's a podcast episode. It's just podcasts all the way down. And obviously, a variety of people have got the intuition that the tavern is kind of, it's gone out of favor over with Matt. Like I said, I'm still doing content, and I'm just wondering, what do you guys think? would it be? Do you want the tavern to come back? Did you ever go there? Was this a thing that you miss? So I'm stepping out. You say what you like, and I'll.
So my 2 cents. Let me start. First of all, the podcast is wonderful, and as always, Nathan brings it every week. So thank you for that. The problem I have is I question, without getting into the politics of the last year, if writers go to the tavern, how impartial they are with where the ecosystem is right now. So from my standpoint, I usually go to the repository and Devinder's WP Weekly for my news pretty quick. Impartiality is something, whether it is or it isn't, I like to clear the deck on that, and that's a bit of an issue. The other thing I'll say is I haven't been on the tavern website in probably over a year. Nathan, I listen to the podcast, but I get it in a podcast catcher, so I don't have any need to go to the website. So I haven't even been on it in a year, and I mean, there's a reason why writers have a tough time staying there. And if we're not going to have writers, let's keep the podcast going and let the rest of it go. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Welcome.
So I'm gonna weigh in as an ex-writer for the tavern. There was a period of time when I was freelancing that I was writing, and I
remember
categorically that we have complete control over our content. When I was writing for the tavern, Justin was one of the editors along with Sarah. Ironically, for those of you who don't know, Justin is now my team lead at Automatic, so that's great. But we literally could write about what we want. And my biggest, I want to say, complaint about the more recent events on the tavern, and I'm going to mispronounce her surname. Nathan, you did it so well earlier. Jolsner, thank you. Jolsner was accused a number of times of writing articles that were just a big WordPress.com advert or Automatic advert or whatever it was. And I have the unique perspective of now being an automatician and seeing her requests to Automatic as a company for an article she was writing for feedback. So she wasn't being told to write said articles. She was choosing to write it on her own. She was like any other journalist having to request information from Automatic about the article she was writing, which tells me that the independence and the ability to write the words that she wanted to write were still her own. So I have no proof of this, but I think the feedback that she was getting from folks might have had a lot to do with her decision to walk away. I think it's sad because I think she was doing an amazing job picking up something that was struggling a lot. So I would encourage anybody who is a writer and who wants to write articles for Tavern. There is I think it's on the Contact Us page somewhere, or somewhere there is a submit yourself to write for the Tavern. Reach out. That's how she got the job. Why not?
Thank you, Jonathan. That's great. Thank you. Dave or Jess?
No, I've got nothing to add to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she got the job because she was part of that trial. I know that Matt did a big wide trial and had a whole bunch of people try out. And a couple of those people now work for Automatic.
Exactly.
But I love the tavern. I miss it. It was definitely one of my go-tos for written content. And of course, it still is for the podcast.
Thank you. You're very kind.
But, giving to the tavern, I don't think takes away from the other incredible media that we're blessed with.
Yeah.
It was just another voice.
Let me just put a few of these comments in here. So, firstly, Anne is making nice comments about Joe Dodson, which is lovely. Thank you for that. Taco is saying, let's be real. All that's left of the tavern is the podcast, right? He says, yep. The repository. So Andrew Palmer, the repository has filled the gap nicely, but there's still room for the tavern. Back to Taco, but I'd love to have extra critical journalists in our ecosystem. Andrew Palmer says, to be honest, the WP Tavern did open up to discussion, and I think that it should be the criteria. Just because Audrey owns it, open discussion is essential. Oh, that would be a good point to make. Yeah. The tavern, for fairly obvious reasons, is not run and owned by Automatic. I don't know if the tavern, like the .com website, is paid for via Audrey Capital, which is it's like Matt's personal, I think I'm going to say venture capital fund. That could be a real misnomer there, but something along those lines. So it's paid for to have that sort of degree of separation. And Andrew agrees with Jonathan. So does Taco. I agree with Jonathan.
Taco disagrees with me, and I think the point that he's making is
disagrees. Sorry,
it doesn't need writers; it needs journalists, and I actually agree with that statement. So what I was trying to say was, if you're a budding journalist and you're interested in WordPress, apply.
Yeah. So the repository, is utterly fabulous, right? You must go and check it out. So it's therepository.email. It's Ray Moray, and she does an utterly fabulous job. We do a podcast episode on WP Builds about every 3 months where we sum up different bits and pieces. I am now going to say something. I didn't think I was. Now I am. I don't know if I'm going to commit suicide here. Here we go. Audrey pays for me to do content on the tavern, right? At no point ever in any way have I been told what I can and cannot do. I mean, literally nothing. Complete silence around that. The conversation went something like this: will you do a podcast? Yes. Here's the login details. That's it, right? However, and this is the curious bit, and this kind of is a difficult thing to parse in my head. However, they do pay me, and so I am able to give it my all. And so it's not chasing that sponsorship thing, but just marinate on that for a minute. You do get paid, and I'm sure that the same scenario would be the case if you were to come on as a writer. So you would get paid, and I am so convinced that you wouldn't be constrained in what you can write, that I would kind of bank my house on it. I just think I just know from personal experience that that's the way it goes. And so that kind of the shackles being off, because you don't need to have sponsors and you're going to get paid so you can do your best work. All that you need to do is, I think, fill out the form, or maybe contact me. I don't know. Maybe I can forward your email address or something like that to somebody that I communicate with about the tavern from time to time. I think it'd be good. I think it was the place where I found most of my WordPress news for this show, on a week-by-week basis. So there we go. Any other comments dropped in from there? Steve Burge says, "Hello, Steve. Maybe it's better now that we have 100% independent news like Ray and the repository." Yeah, I guess that's the piece that you have to get in your own head, whether or not it truly is independent. All I can say is personal experience.
They have sponsors.
Yeah.
You know, it's still connected to corporate or biased dollars at some level, but yes, it's independent.
Yeah.
Again, not digging on Ray. I am 100% team repository, but
yeah. It's an interesting confection.
If there's money.
Yeah, if you're getting paid to do that job, it really, I think it does free you up in some way. You obviously just concentrate on that thing, and you only have to look at Justin and Sarah and Jolsner and obviously Jonathan and what have you. The shackles being, I don't want to sound like I'm promoting it. I want to be as fair-handed as possible. So if you believe that I've just over-egged that experience over there, please tell me. I don't want to come across as like some sort of shill for it.
I don't think
no, but I also want to defend the writers of WP Tavern. They were not corporate shills.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it was so good.
I just want to interrupt with a very small anecdote. So the last article that I wrote for WP Tavern was the one that got me the job at Delicious Brains as a technical writer there. But I literally got a message from Justin saying, "Hey, Sarah and I are going to be away for Thanksgiving weekend, whatever. We've got nothing scheduled. Do you have anything you're writing?" And it was around the time of the PHP, I think it was 8 release. And Juliet Raiders Fulmer had just released her, in conjunction with Yoast, she'd released a Getting Your Plugins Ready for PHP 8 breakdown. And I was ruminating about how do we get that out to the WordPress space. And so I just wrote that article, and he went, "Editor, cool, done." It literally was that controlled, if you will. That was my experience, definitely.
Yeah. Just to balance it a little bit, please do what Jess said. Go and sign up at the repository.email. So it's the repository.email. I feel it's like such a credible thing to do at the moment. Equally,
but there's also WP Weekly.
There's so
there's
many, right?
WP World. There's the WP Minute.
Yeah, I think
there's a lot of great independent
Yeah,
journalism.
you are, of course, right. And I should have mentioned all of those as well. Thank you for dropping that in. Yeah. I think this calls for an open discussion, says Ahmed, on how we can get journalists involved in the project, especially with the Media Corps experiment failed. So we have this institution in the UK called the BBC, right? And love it or hate it, it has a charter. And the BBC is the British Broadcasting Corporation. And the charter says that they've got to produce programming about everything. So they can't just do things which are super popular. So they can't just do like, chasing the sponsorships, because there is no sponsorship. We pay a fee. And what that means is that they can concentrate on making programming that only a subset of the people are interested in. And I think that is an interesting model, and I would love to have that back in WordPress, where we can just get really into the weeds, a whole long pieces that take days to write, just about all of those different kind of bits and pieces as well. Right, I've said too much. Here we go. Let's get back to the bits and pieces. Right, okie doke. Let's put the screen back on. This came from WebTNG. And he produced, so this is David McCann. David McCann produced an article over the last it was the 1st of August, actually, in which he's trying to kind of figure out what makes WordPress products successful. And it's kind of interesting, and it kind of feeds into suspicions that I probably had for a long time anyway. It kind of boils down to, well, how to describe it. Okay, let's just read it off the screen. Don't do cheap tricks. Don't try to rely on little hacks that you see on YouTube, because the audience over on the WordPress side of things is not that audience. So he gives an example of a company that kind of pretended to have this sort of fake scarcity. And, whilst it was successful for a few licenses, it quickly turned out that it didn't work. There's a little bit about the full site editing and so on and so forth. But basically, it boils down to this. Turn up with your authentic self. And if you are authentic, you'll probably have more luck. Because time is running out, I'm not really doing that story justice. I'm really sorry, David. I had meant to concentrate on it a little bit more. Did any of you four happen to read this one? And if you did you want to just sort of paraphrase it in a better way than I did?
I was not familiar with this blog before you shared the article with us, and I'm so glad. I'm absolutely going to go back and read more, because this is really well written. My favorite part is toward the end, because I wasn't familiar with this quote. He said, an interesting thing that Nick Roach has been saying at the end of his Divi updates is, when you tell us that Divi is ready, then it's ready. Contrast that attitude with our experience of how the site editor rollout was handled. I mean, shots kind of fired, but also point taken. I love that. When you tell us it's ready, then it's ready. And I think talking about the WordPress entrepreneur secret sauce, that's at the heart of it. It's listening to your customers, ask and listen.
David is possibly the most calm individual you'll ever meet. If you ever watch his YouTube channel, it's like it could be therapy, frankly. He's just very, very calm and considered, and he goes deep into the weeds of different. Basically, he doesn't do short form blitzy stuff. He's really into like getting into the weeds of different bits and pieces. So highly recommend WebTNG. But essentially he's saying, be authentic. If you bring your authentic self, do things out in the open, you've got a chance of success. And I've said this many times before, I get quite a lot of email from product owners who've got a thing that they want to sell into the marketplace, and there's lessons to be learned here. Don't watch YouTube for like hot tips on how to do things, because it might work commercially, but it's commercially outside of the WordPress ecosystem, but it's probably not going to work inside the WordPress ecosystem. So there we go. Dave, I don't know if you had a chance to read this, especially as you've got some nice shiny new products in the WordPress space.
I didn't have a chance to read through it properly, but yeah, just the kind of the comment on the Divi bit and Nick Roach on there for sort of saying, I think they're on like their 20th release through on the alpha on that side. They are taking their time. They're doing it all in public and being honest about those things. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the final Divi 5 to come out to give that another sort of shot on that side. But yeah, I'd never heard of this sort of blog before, so I'll need to give it a read later on.
Yeah, he's really brilliant. Really, really brilliant. I would definitely recommend it. So that's webtng.com. Go and have a read. There's more to it than I've mentioned. However, what it did bring up in my mind, again, is this thing. I got to say, I am not a Divi user. When I moved into the WordPress space, it was already, this is going to sound awful. Lines had been drawn, let's put it that way. People were already using products and they were willing to use unsavory language, let's go with that, against this product. And I honestly don't know why. I think it might have been, I don't know, shortcodes, that the page was built up with shortcodes, and maybe that wasn't with hindsight, maybe that wasn't the best way of doing things, because if you remove the plugin, you were just left with a hot mess of content that was unreadable. But man alive, is this product big? I mean, gigantically big. I think probably the only thing which would touch it in terms of user base numbers, and I haven't looked for probably a year, but I would imagine Elementor is in first position and possibly Divi in second. It might even be the other way around. And they've obviously been listening to their customers, as evidence from the previous article. And here we are, Divi 5. Is going to be out in public fairly soon. They're obviously after some testers. Public alpha number, check it out, public alpha number 20. That's quite a lot of listening that they're doing. And so obviously, if you've got this product and you've kind of put it on the back shelf, maybe you've got I don't know if they did lifetime deals or anything like that. Maybe it's time to go and revisit it. I think before we hit record, Jonathan, you said that this was the thing that got you into WordPress, right?
Well, it's the thing that got me into WordPress development, and it's kind of ironic that Palmer's in this chat, because he and I go way back because of Divi. Some of the first plugins that I built with Andrew. It was a Elegant Theme users group, Facebook group that he had, and it was Elegant Marketplace that he was running with some partners, and I was building plugins for that platform. So, yeah, it's. I said this earlier before we recorded. Like, Divi was the thing before Elementor became the thing. And
yeah.
What Elementor did very, very well early on was they built it on a very solid foundational code base, which unfortunately Divi didn't do. As somebody who built plugins with Divi, I got stuck into the code of Divi, and I kind of saw some of the early day stuff that then got built on top of and built on top of and built on top of. And I feel like Divi 5 is the Elegant Themes folks going, right, let's go back to a good foundation and then build on top of that. So I'm excited to see it. I haven't been following the alphas or all of that. I've still got my original lifetime license that I got on a Black Friday deal, I think in 2015 or whatever it was. I'm excited to try it out when it comes out and then get stuck into the code and see what's going on there. But yeah, it's a lot bigger than I think a lot of people realize. It's kind of gotten to that point there where the folks who are using and building with Divi don't tend to have to shout it from the rooftops, because it just does what they need it to do, and it does it really, really well. But yeah, I'm interested to see what Divi 5 looks like when it eventually gets released. There's probably still some sites out there that I built in my early developer days, WordPress developer days, that are still using Divi, that are still getting updates on whatever the last sort of stable version is.
I'm kind of trying to, whilst you're talking, I'm trying to Google something which will give me kind of up-to-date data. And I can't remember the website that I used to use, but several years ago, I used to pull up that graph fairly frequently. It's one of those generic websites where they, CMS plugins and what have you, and it does little charts for it. And Divi was far and away the winner. And that was even in the days when Elementor was going gangbusters. Divi was massive in comparison to Elementor. Now, Taco, I presume based upon evidence, I'm not entirely sure, he says Elementor is much larger than Divi as far as he knows. WP Bakery, according to Andrew Palmer, is second as a plugin. Divi is number one as a theme. That's interesting. Lots of newer page builders, says Dave Dunn. Got fame from picking on Divi. Yeah, I think it was like sort of punching down a little bit, wasn't it? There was a lot of that going on at the time. And this is why I know he, i.e. Jonathan, is a genius.
Wishwell's head continues.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure it was built with. Thank you, Taco. That was where I needed to go. Element. Oh, okay. So it really has changed. Elementor is about, assuming Marcus Burnett is true, Elementor is about 5 times active installs according to built with. Thank you, Marcus. That's good to know. Yeah. There's been a precipitous swap in that case. I think it was more like 2x for Divi. Anyway, the point is, Divi is still massive. And they've got a massive update coming, so go and check it out if you're into that. Go and check out the latest update. Right, where are we at? Call for accessibility testers. What more is there to say? If you like Anne in the comment and Joe Dawson that we mentioned, if accessibility is something that you're interested in assisting with in the WordPress project, they are the accessibility team is looking for team reps. I'll just run it by you so that you know what you might be getting yourself into. If you're listening to this on your podcast player, this might pique your interest. Team rep is an organizational role that is mostly administrative in nature. It's not the lead role. This is interesting that they felt they needed to write this. I thought letting go of the team rep title is not a lot in status, just a handing of responsibilities over. Someone who is a leader in a team can lead whether they are doing team rep job or not. The kind of job work that you'll be getting yourself into is preparing meeting agendas, conducting bi-weekly meetings, documenting notes and things like that. So important work. I know it's maybe not the most sort of public-facing, glamorous sort of side of things, but it needs to be done. And so there is that. If anybody wants to highlight that, I will give you a moment. If not, I'll move on. Okay.
I just want to, sorry, before we move on, I just want to say that if you're interested in accessibility, but you don't know how to accessibility, being a team rep is a great way to learn. So as Nathan pointed out, a team rep role is very much an administrative role, but you're working alongside all of these accessibility experts and you're learning what they're doing and how they're doing things. So I highly recommend it if it's something you're interested in.
Excellent point.
Thank you. Yeah, really good point. So you may well, learn an awful lot in that process. But anyway, it's there now. If you've listened to this podcast, it's available. I'm just going to quickly mention this just because it's in the rundown, but here we are. We're at the repository as per the conversation just a moment ago. And that is to say that GoDaddy have this thing called the Ask Aero. It's brand new. And they're injecting it across their entire platform. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to park this one and come back to it next time because it's probably not that specific. So I'll make sure to do that next time. However, this one's kind of interesting. Again, I'm on X. This is a plugin called Groundhog. Groundhog is... it's like a system built inside of WordPress. It's a plugin and it enables you, it's like a CRM type thing. So it is drip feed emails and this kind of stuff. So I'm going to read the comment from Groundhog. I presume it's Adrian who has written this, but it may not be. The WordPress plugin team has closed our repository listing because of trademark infringement using WordPress in the plugin name. The closing triggered a code review, so now we must make changes to many, in capital letters, files to make the plugin team happy. We'll hopefully be back soon. I guess what he's trying to do here is just make their customers aware that they're not going away. If you go and look for that now, it's not going to be available, but they're going to come back. Jess, you wanted me to mention something that was a little bit down in the comments, was it?
You passed it.
Okay, sorry.
It's all right. It's Steve Jones pointed out.
Here we go. Do you want to read it out?
It'd be a happy accident because it sounds like there may be other things that need to be fixed, but to Groundhog's point, he'd rather not do it under duress, which I can appreciate. But, as much as I hate hearing that this happens to anyone's plugins, I hope it's a call to action to consider the WordPress coding standards and to use it against your code base. Find issues before the code review team does, and it makes everyone's job easier. And it's better for your customers too.
I actually don't know because I am not a user of their plugin. I don't know on what level the word WordPress was used in their plugin name, but let me just be clear.
So I want to jump in there.
Yeah,
and
please.
Say that it was the first word in their plugin title on their plugin page. I'm looking at Internet Archive from earlier this year.
Which is what got them into trouble.
Yep. Which is what got them into trouble. And this is nothing. I don't know the guys from the folks from Groundhog. I don't know the team. I don't know anything about their plugin. I do know that the plugin review team does send out emails when these things are flagged. And so this is just a call to action, as Jess said, to all plugin developers. Make sure that you're checking the email, register to your WordPress account, because when these things get flagged, you will get emails. I think they give you 7 days to reply. And if you don't reply, then they will shut you down. There might be further process to it, but they do let you know. So if you're hosting a plugin on the repository, make sure you're keeping an eye on those emails so that you can catch these things early.
Yeah, so whilst that's very obviously, whatever I'm about to say is going to sound glib, and I apologize, Adrian, if it comes out that way. I'm sorry that you have, found yourself in this mess, and I hope that, that people can learn from the story that you're going to, no doubt be able to tell. That is a shame. Further down the piece here, it says that there's probably, I think he said something like 1,000 files or 1,000 things, which it would appear need changing. So okay, caveat emptor a little bit there, isn't it? If you in any way, so the times have changed, haven't they, since last year? If you've got the word WordPress and if you're even slightly unsure whether the context of that usage is wrong, then maybe reach out and reach out to the people who would be able to tell you, in this case the plugin review team, and they'll be able to give you an idea. I've noticed on the Twitter, it says here, Groundhog CRM plugin for WordPress. That seems like that would be entirely fine, but maybe it was the other way around, WordPress CRM plugin or something like that. I think that usage of it would contravene, whereas the other way around doesn't, because it doesn't imply that sort of exclusivity. I am no expert in this, so
we're not lawyers, Jim.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Damn it, Jim. I'm a podcaster, not a lawyer.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so that was that piece. Have we got time for this? No, we don't. I'm going to come back to a few of these next week. I'll just say this one quickly. If you've got an iPhone and you're in Japan, the Japanese government have made it such that it's quite likely that in the near future, on your iOS device of choice, you'll be able to have a choice of browsers, an actual choice of browsers. So things like, I don't know, Brave, Chrome, and so on, Firefox and things like that, because the Japanese government have said you can't do this sort of simulation of browser compatibility, which iOS currently ships with. From my point of view, on the open side of things, I think this is great. Maybe Apple have, they're going to count their, pennies. I think they've got a few pennies to, I'm sure they can take the hit here. They're worth 3 trillion or something like that, so it's not the end of the world. But anyway, a welcome thing if you are an iOS user. What else have we got? It's all about AI. And okay, let's finish on this one, just the very final one for today. File this under stupid idea. So this is, sorry, that was a bit, didn't mean that to come out like that. So this is this will never happen, but honestly, I think the word here is, what's the hubris? Let's go with that. The hubris of this. This is a company called Reflect, Reflect Orbital, and they're trying to get venture capital money at the minute. If you're a venture capitalist, firstly, you're probably not watching this show, but if you are, don't give them any money. It's clearly snake oil. They want to put mirrors in space so that when it's dark on different sides of the globe, they can reflect. Look, they've got graphics and everything, so they can reflect sunlight. Look, there we are. Oh, look, it's dark. Half the world's dark. That's a shame. That wasn't how nature intended it. No. So what we'll do is we'll put up mirrors, and those mirrors will be able to shine down onto your solar panels at night.
You know what, Nathan? You're mad now, but let's talk when you're in your 6 months of grayness.
Oh.
In the UK.
Yeah.
And we'll see how you feel about space mirrors.
No, but imagine all the unexpected consequences, like those little things that you don't think about, like the seed pod that kind of in some curious way needs a signal that is so predictable, and it's this hot cold cycle, this light dark cycle, the ability to sleep and things like that based upon the cadence of the sun going around. I don't know, it just seems like a bad idea.
I like how Jonathan wrapped it up. Sunlight as a service.
Yeah, sunlight as a service. Exactly. I mean, it seems great, if you could literally beam it down laser like onto the onto the solar panel, sure.
You bill hourly, daily, per spin. Like, how does that work?
Yeah. Or if I wanted a suntan, you know, at like 4 a.m, I just go and stand in my backyard, click the Uber like app. Oh, I'll just have an hour of sunlight, please. You just stand and, you know, it just comes. I don't know.
I just want to point out that this is literally the Bond villain's plan in the Die Another Day movie.
Exactly.
It's literally what they build is a satellite with refracting the sun, whatever. That's all I'm saying. Diamonds.
Can I just say, in what is probably the lowest blow ever, I get this. 6 months of greyness. It's been grey for years. It's true. It's why I wear this ridiculous hat every week. Thank you, Taco. I appreciate that. And it's more than 6 months. Says
Sorry,
Andrew
UK.
I know, it's bad. You know what? If there was no unexpected consequences, I think it'd be quite a nice idea. But I just sort of feel, you know, something will go wrong. A pinpoint laser-like bit of radiation will come from outer space and like slice somebody in two one day, and then, you know, there'll be questions asked. Please, if you've got millions of pounds burning a hole in your pocket, send it to me, and I will spend it much more wisely than any of these people, and it will go to, you know, making sure that puppies, cats, alligators, pufferfish, and turtles have a lovely life. Okay, there you go. Sounds like a global fire starter. Oh,
Wicked.
yeah, it does. It is
Fire
good.
starter.
I like it. Okay, that's it. That's all we've got time for, I think. Unless anybody wants to drop anything else before we finish. Anybody? Open for quickly.
Invest in batteries when you've got sunlight during the day. Ta-da!
Yeah, exactly. Just charge stuff up with what we've already got.
There was a great question that we didn't answer from the comments, though. Why is Dave?
Why are you? Yeah, why is it? Okay, I hadn't thought about that, Jess. Where is that? There's a comment somewhere about that, is there? Yeah, why are you Dave? Dave? For those of you that are listening and not watching, I've got my name. Jonathan's got his name. Everybody's got their name, but Dave is in air quotes.
You forgot your email from a few days ago where you got my surname wrong.
She
I
see. Okay,
no, I just be Dave. So
that's what it is. Oh, the shame. Oh, the shame.
I was trying to not talk about the mistakes that you made already, but someone had to go and bring it up. Yeah.
I put a podcast episode out, and basically across my entire website and all the images and everything wrote Dave's name incorrectly. Yeah. And he was very gentle, and he wrote back and threatened to kneecap me unless I fix things quickly.
Get in line, Dave.
You brought me on the show instead, so yeah.
Greyness is normal in the UK. And this bombshell, this will be the way to finish it. I love this podcast.
Aww.
You do.
Thanks, Andrew. Love you too.
For that. It's made possible by the fine people who join us each week. So this week we've got Dave Gray with an E. We've got Jess Frick. I so want to be able to do that. I want to be able to go here and somehow my arm extends through Dave's screen and it's extremely long.
I'm doing it wrong. Hang on.
Yeah. Something like that. We're joined by Jess.
There we go.
We're joined by Jonathan Bossinger and we're joined by Rob Cairns. We'll be back next week. I think we've got one next week and then I've got a week off for WordCamp US. So we'll be back next week. Please join us, spread the word, let people know that you enjoyed the show. Fabulous. There's only one thing to do, and that is the humiliating hand wave thing. Honestly, if I asked you to do this in any other walk of life, you'd be like, no. But in this scenario, I got all the power. Normal. Yeah, I know, it's totally normal. That's it. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week, as I said. If you want to just hang out for a bit, please do. If you want to come on the show,
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
/the TWIW if you want to be on the show. Yeah, thank you so much. We'll see you later. Bye.
Yeah, bye.